Let me ask you, Jason Box, as a leading glaciologist, scientist, about ExxonMobil and about this expose done by Los Angeles Times and Inside Climate News that shows these documents that Exxon knew in the 1970s, working with top scientists about climate change. Last weekend, you participated in a very novel kind of mock trial. The prosecutors were author Naomi Klein and 350.org co-founder Bill McKibben. And you talked about the significance of these new documents that have come out. Explain why we know what Exxon knew, but then covered up.
I mean, my participation was as an expert witness, and I read the early scientific documents as part of this Inside Climate News revelations, this expose. It's the clarity of the science that Exxon was producing in the early 80s is crystal clear. The technologies they were using, that climate science was state of the art. It still rivals some of the science we have today. And for Exxon to then take a public position and a position with their shareholders that was not consistent with their very carefully worked out science.
Why were they doing this science? Did they say, we want to know about the state of climate change?
The reporting is clear that their leaders in the 70s took this risk factor seriously because it risks their business model. And so they wanted to know using their own people, and they were very well funded, and the documents are very well written, climate science. They then connected that with their product could not be sold anymore. They could not convince shareholders that their product was viable, but they went ahead and lied to the public, and they lied to their shareholders.
How?
By flatly denying it and by using uncertainty. They brought the rhetoric of uncertainty into their messaging from their CEO to shareholders and to the public.
What happened to the scientific team that they hired to research this?
They defunded their science. That there was an economic crisis at the time that they justified some of that defunding. But then they take a public position that is counter to their own science, is in effect lying in public on issues, just to keep their product sellable, and that cost us 20 years. And if they had come straight and recognized themselves as an energy company, they could have made that transition with us to cleaner energy and remained a viable company. Now they're a rogue company.
The results of that cover-up?
Well, it's we made this mock trial, and what clearly needs to happen is that true justice comes to this issue. Climate change it's a justice issue. It's an environmental justice issue, and this couldn't be a more clear case.
Finally, what keeps your spirits up when you see what is happening? The Esquire subtitle, among many climate scientists, gloom has set in. Things are worse than we think, but they can't really talk about it. Do you see self-censorship among scientists, and what gives you hope here?
Well, I'm actually not wanting to be a messenger of doom because I see a lot of hope in the explosive growth in renewables. And the fact that renewables are cheaper than nuclear, they're cheaper than fossil fuels in many existing markets around the world. And that growth is going to surprise a lot of people, how clean energy just takes over because it's better economically. I see that coming. That gives me hope. I sense actually in this meeting how broad this movement is becoming, the awareness of this problem, and it's broadening. So it's gaining momentum, and I think that momentum will continue through Paris. There's a lot of hard work to do. It's not going to be easy, but we're doing this for our kids and for nature.
Jason Box, I want to thank you for being with us. Professor of Glaciology at the Geological Survey of Denmark and Greenland. He's been studying the Greenland ice sheet since 1994. Hi, I'm Amy Goodman. I want to thank you for tuning in to Democracy Now! We are so grateful to our fans and followers for being a part of the daily conversation. By choosing a news source that's committed to the truth, you're carrying the message of independent media, reaching hundreds of thousands of people every day. In these times of war and elections, we need a media not sponsored by corporations that profit from war, but a media that's truly independent, funded by you. Democracy Now! Is not paid for by the weapons manufacturers, the insurance industry, or the oil, gas, coal, or nuclear companies. We don't take advertising or corporate underwriting dollars. That means we rely on your donations to make our daily independent news hour possible. We need your support today to keep bringing you the hard-hitting, in-depth reporting you've come to expect 5 days a week. Visit democracynow.org, or you can call 888-999-3877. That's 888-999-3877 to make your holiday gift to Democracy Now! Today. Thanks so much for sharing Democracy Now! Stories all year long.